Sunita, we'll wait for 5 more minutes. We'll wait for another 5 minutes. Good morning, all, and welcome you all for the third day of FDP. I'm very happy to welcome Dr. Sree Rekha, who is currently holding the position of engineering leader at Amazon, Washington, United States. Dr. Sree Rekha has 13 plus years of experience in architecting and building scalable, distributed, and performance systems, an extensive experience in planning, designing, developing, and implementing web cloud-based solutions for a wide range of business applications across diversified domains. Her specialties being a large-scale enterprise product development, microservice architecture, leadership, team building, collaboration, customer interaction, and driving and fostering innovative environment process, cultural and people development. Sree Rekha is also an expert in various technologies like Java, Python, Hibernate, ORM, Agile Scrum, and many more. A very warm welcome on behalf of Department of Computer Applications and the Sagar College, Bangalore. Ma'am, you can take over the session now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shalini, for a quick introduction. It's my pleasure to be part of this group again. And Sunita Madam has been a very close friend of mine since very long time. So yeah, I'm glad that I'm part of this program again, and I'm able to pursue my passion. So I'm a passionate mentor and a coach and a teacher and an educator, I would say. So
Thank you so much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation and connecting from United States.
No worries, no worries. All right. So I can take over the session now.
Yes, ma'am, you can take over the session.
Yeah. So I thought participants will be more, and we cannot kind of have an introduction session, but I see the number of participants are 25. So I would first get started with a bit of my introduction, and probably if you folks are comfortable, you can come on video and you can introduce yourself. And if you can stay on video, that would be absolutely fine. If not, like there might be some network issues or connectivity issues, so I can understand that. So COVID has taught us a lot of things. So people still can work remotely, and people, even if they're not on videos, they're still productive. So I believe in that. And if you can come on video and introduce yourself, that is fine. If not, I can understand. So yeah, so thanks for the introduction, Shalini ma'am. So as ma'am said, I'm Dr. Sree Rekha. So I
Thank
work
you,
with
ma'am.
Amazon.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I work with Amazon. Yes, sir. You had something to say?
Myself, Dr. Mohan, Professor, PS College of Engineering, Mandya, Madam.
Oh, hello, sir.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Good morning.
Very good morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think, yeah, we will go one by one. Participants, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Thank you for pitching in first, sir. Appreciate it. Okay. Who wants to go next? Amandeep? Okay, anyone else? I see Dr. Asha, Dr. Vibha, Dr. Sumati, Jaypriya, Latha, Manjusha, Dharmendra Rao, Nagashri, Nityanandan Krishna.
I think the
Good morning,
participants
ma'am.
likes to hear from you.
Yeah,
Good morning, ma'am.
definitely. Good morning. Very good morning, Dr. Sumati, ma'am. How are you doing?
From Anna University, ma'am. From Anna
Good.
University, Chennai, ma'am.
Good to know that. Nice to meet you, madam, today in this session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, anyways, for the next 2 hours, I'm going to talk, guys. So I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to come on video and say a few words about yourself. But yeah, that's absolutely fine. So, all right, let's get started. So I started my career in teaching. So I was really passionate about having inspiring so many people on a daily basis, and I think teaching is the only profession where you get to meet hundreds of people on your day-to-day basis, and you get an opportunity to inspire lives of many kids whom you are teaching, right? So on that note, yeah, so after that, I started my career in IT industry. So as I progressed in my teaching career and signed up for PhD, I realized that there is something missing, and I went back to IT industry and kind of started learning things that I was passionate about, and basically kind of loving what I'm doing right now. And yeah, so that's briefly about how my journey was till here. So we will get started. Give me a moment to share my screen, and feel free to post any questions, and feel free to kind of be interactive in the session, because the whole intention of having this session is to help you guys to kind of learn something new. And if I'm able to help you to at least inspire one person to go back and implement what we are going to learn today, so that would be a big achievement for me. So I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if you guys are able to see. So since I'm sharing my screen, I think I'll go off video, since none of the participants are also on video, because I have some issue when I'm sharing my screen and I'm on video in parallel. I'm just turning off my video. Apologies for that, guys. Usually I prefer being on video in any of the meetings, but yeah. Let me know once you guys are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Thank you so much for confirming, madam. So, yeah, so you might be wondering, this session is about local development environments, and Sree Rekha has come up with something called Adarsh Shikshak. So I basically am a fan of Sanskrit. So I like to quote and connect the things that we do as part of our work to something innovative, so that we get inspired and it kind of stays in our mind for longer. So I did have many role model teachers throughout my education span of education, and throughout my career, and because of which I'm here where I am right now. So yeah, I'm Gurujala Sree Rekha. So I did my MCA and PhD in computer science, and recently I completed my MBA with Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. So that was brief about me, and yeah, so I was really excited when I got a call from Sunita madam to kind of have a session for faculties, right? So teachers are actually the planters of seeds of knowledge that grow in the minds of students forever. So it is a long-term relationship that a student will have with teacher, and vice versa in our careers, right? So that is a kind of the next level achievement in anyone's career. And I will talk about the superior teacher and great teacher. So the superior teacher always tries to demonstrate, and the great teacher inspires. So we get inspired by a lot of people on a daily basis, and we do inspire unknowingly someone, and especially when we are teaching someone or mentoring someone or coaching someone, unknowingly we are inspiring people and helping them to achieve the next goals in their life or whatever it is, right? So it might be taking the right decision, or taking up the project, or going in the right path in their career, or whether it is in education or whatever it is. So, on that note, the agenda for my session would be, first, I'll be talking a little bit about how do we inspire students. So, that becomes a critical part of our job, right? So, unless there is a established connection between a teacher and a student, learning can never happen. So, that's what the studies say, and the experts are believing. So, we will cover a bit about how different students gets inspired, and how basically the what are the techniques that teachers can use to inspire students. And yes, I'll go into the topic about the development environments, and I'll speak a bit about one of the development environment which is most commonly used in our day-to-day development work. And then we will go with a scenario based learning. So the kind of design that I have done for this session is to kind of have a overall development program for anyone who is attending this, so that it's not only focusing on a single concept which can be learned online, right? So you just go Google and you get a lot of content about what is a development environment. But what we don't get is small tips and things that we kind of share and learn on a daily work. So we will touch a bit about the scenario based learning, and there is a small video. There are a couple of videos actually. So every kid needs a champion. So we will talk about it, and in the last we will open for questions and answers. Right. So that is it, and we are at 15 minutes now, and let's get started. So what inspires for betterment? So what inspires me at work is the things that I do. So whatever I do, I like it definitely, and that's what Steve Jobs also says. The only way to do a great work or any great work is to love what you do. So there are times where people would not find what they like, and there are times where people will be in search of things, right? So say for example, I was kind of I'll take my example, or I can connect to my story, right? So I was kind of doing a lot of things around in my career and in my work, right? So at some point I felt this is not my cup of tea, I need to try something new. So I went and kind of had a startup idea which got implemented and which was sold to a bigger bank or a big organization. So that is something which at that point motivated me to do, and it cannot be the same thing throughout, right? So it keeps changing. So never settle down and teach your students the same. So if someone is coming to you, ma'am or sir, what is that one thing that I need to do? So find your passion, do the work, and love what you do. And if you have not found something which is not motivating you to work, keep looking for it, because survival is also important, right? So we cannot keep looking for doing something big and sitting idle. So keep doing something and then think about it in parallel. Never settle down for less, and never give up on anything. The next immediate question that we need to answer while we are teaching students is, are we communicating enough with the students and with the world? As teachers, we tend to kind of cover the syllabus, finish the topics, and kind of help the students crack the exams and prepare them for the university exams, and helping them to clear them. So these are all the things, I would say these are all the responsibilities of any faculty, right? So whichever class you are taking, whichever subject you are teaching, so you're kind of expected to give your best and all the students in your subject should pass. But what I would say is part of the coin, other coin. So we need to kind of see what is the value add that a student is getting out of that subject. So it can be a business communication, it can be a communication skill subject, it can be a oral English or writing, whatever subject it may be, right? So it need not be a Java or Python or something which is cool or something which is used by everyone else in the world, right? So whatever we are teaching, so what is the value that every student is getting out of it? Are we communicating it right? Are we doing our job to kind of convey what our intentions are when we are kind of teaching a topic? So if we think in that direction, right, so there is a wonder in every topic. So I have seen people who are kind of super top in economics field. They're like kind of gods in economics, and there are people who are kind of doing PhDs and postdoctorals in accounting field. So which I was at least not aware of when I was studying. Only engineering and computer science were the buzzwords where the whole world was talking about. But why do a student have to choose always a computer science? Why do a student have to choose always some field which is, or some path which is already set? Why can't a student go and explore the stuff? So unless a teacher or a mentor or a parent is opening up and communicating the same with the students, there is not going to be any opportunity for them to go and explore and think about and beyond. So everyone has a reason to tell. So the easy way to connect with students, inspire them and motivate them and communicate them is inspire with your thoughts and talents. So every teacher is a born leader, I would say. So unless you are a leader, you would not be in a position to speak and teach in front of so many students, right? So there is a lot of talent that is there within each one of us. We can inspire a lot of people, and we get inspired from a lot of people. So when we get that opportunity to inspire the world with our thoughts and talents, why not do that? So let's make use of that opportunity to share our thoughts with students, share our thoughts with peers, and get their feedbacks and reflect your values. So the content that is there in your mind need not be in your mind anymore, right? So there are so many platforms where you can go and put your content and get feedback about what is that about. So say, for example, I have an idea to kickstart a company. So I don't have to keep that idea with me, right? So unless I have a feeling that, okay, someone might steal my idea. So everyone gets that idea, and everyone will think in that direction, like how it can be made better. But who is executing first? Like what is that one thing that I'm doing differently from others? So that is what is going to put me in a different path in the career, right? So that is something which we need to teach our kids. Okay, so yeah, there is no better book than our story or anyone else's story. So we can choose whichever way you want, but the end goal should be motivating them for achieving many things, mentoring them to think positively. So there are many things that happens throughout the students life cycle, right? Like from the time they join the first year, they are freshers, and they go to the next semester, and they get into the middle year, and final year they'll be in tension of getting a placement, get so there'll be a lot of people coming to you, like in terms of sir, what I need to do in order to get placed in a good company, or what am I supposed to do in case I don't get placement, what are the next options and things like that. So there is a lot of scope for a teacher to inspire and motivate a student. So try to talk to them, identify what are the areas of improvement that we can work on each of them. I know it is very difficult when you have 120 students in a class, but yeah, if we organize and plan it in a proper way from the beginning of the semester, so we can be able to achieve it by end of the semester, or at least by the beginning of the fifth semester, where students are going to get placement interviews, right? So yeah, so that is another tip I just wanted to kind of share. And before we move on, so be careful with the words we say, because teachers impact students the most. So the word, once you say, there are students who remember it for 10 years, 20 years, and they come back to you saying, Madam, you said this word to me that helped me at some point in my life. Whether they become successful or whether they achieve something in their life, they do remember their teacher. So be cautious or careful, I would say, when you are saying something with students. And do not miss the moment if you get an opportunity to help someone with your thoughts, with your ideas, with your mentorship, or with your teaching or coaching, whatever we name it. So the moment once it is gone, it is not going to come back, whether it will be in students' life or in the faculty's life. The moment is gone, and it is applicable for the. So be careful with these three things, and try to motivate students with your caliber, with your stories, whichever is connecting better. And every student is different in that way. So there are different ways to deal with different kinds of people, and I think you are pioneers in that. I don't have to talk about it, but yeah, these are few thoughts I just wanted to kind of share with you. And failures are common for everyone. So there is no single person who is a consistent successful person, or there is no single person who is continuously failing, right? So it is a mixture. So there'll be success, there'll be failures, and we need to kind of figure out how to balance it out. And it applies for everybody, not only the students, not only the teachers, not only the professionals, not only the people at home, homemakers. So life is like a photography. And I love this quote because it says you need negatives to develop. So unless you don't have negatives, there is no betterment. So accept the feedback and give the productive feedback, give the right feedback, so that people can take it and positively go to the next level. So the feedback, constructive feedback, doesn't necessarily mean that you are pointing a finger at a person, right? Identify are there in his whether it is education or career or the path that the person individual has taken. So as a mentor, you need to tell them what they're strong at and what they're weak at and where they need to develop, right? So that is going to be a stepping stone for their further successes in the future. Okay. On that note, those were a few tips and thoughts I wanted to kind of share before we actually jump on with the topic of what is an integrated development environment, right? So there are many definitions around. So it is an interactive development environment. It is a place where you can go and play around with different code like C, C++, Java, Android, React, iOS apps, whatever you name it, right? So it's a simple software application which we use for developing our software, and it has an inbuilt compiler interpreter. It also has a lot of version control systems. So I don't want to go deep into compilers, interpreters, and version control systems because every topic in it is very deep, and I can go about 3 hours on each topic. So I don't want to kind of dive deeper there, but I'll cover at a high level what are the capabilities. And I'm quite sure like many of you would have gone through this. This is just a refresher, right? So there are some special functionalities, like as I was mentioning, version control systems. How do we kind of control the versioning when multiple people are working on your product, right? So in companies, usually what happens is there is no single team or single person who is going to work on one single project. So when multiple people are working on a single project, how is that the version control we are going to manage? So say, for example, I have one file which I'm kind of checking out. So I've checked out one file, and say at the same time 10 other people have checked out the file to kind of make modifications. So which modification, which check-in of code is going to be maintained, and what will happen to the code that the second person is changing, and is it first come first serve basis, or is it following any other methodology? Is it going to maintain all the versions of the code that is being pushed in? So yeah, feel free to go and find the answers. I'm not going to answer them because these are all the functionalities or features that a version control system is going to provide you, right? So it's all open source. So there is nothing like you need to pay and buy and use it. So even any IDE, you go just search in Google and you get a free distribution in whichever platform you want, right? So whether you want it for a Mac or whether you want it for a Windows laptop, whatever it is. And there are certain proprietary IDEs. It is not that all are free. So if you want certain features to be used specifically with Visual Studio and things like that, so there are proprietary softwares which you need to buy licensed ones. And there are some cross-platform IDs as well. So in case anyone is interested about knowing what a cross-platform ID is, like you can get started with the NetBeans and kind of see how things are kind of working there and how to pack it with some other platform and continue with the development work, right? So yeah, so these are the programming languages that most of the IDs, whether it is a free source, open source, or if it is a bought one, so they all support almost Java, HTML, Python, Perl, or name a language. I think there should be a support. And if at all there is no support, then I think there are communities and forums where people can reach out to the developers and raise a request, and they will work on your thing. Or there is another option. So you can contribute to the open source, right? So say, for example, in Eclipse IDE, you notice that, okay, this feature is not working right. So I chose auto correction and it is giving something when I'm starting typing something else, which is not expected. It is a bug in that software, right? So there are two ways to solve that problem. So teach your kids how to solve the problem. So downloading an Eclipse IDE, everybody can do it. Like you can go into Google and you can download and you can watch some tutorial and you start using it, right? But who's going to teach you how to troubleshoot things, right? How to basically kind of go and find, hey, I got this problem, or I noticed this is not working as expected, or as an end user, I'm not happy with this behavior. So what are the next steps that you're going to do? That is a proactive ownership that you're taking on software that you are using. So either you raise a ticket to the concerned developer team, or take ownership of that, and why don't you solve that problem and contribute back to the open source. And there are proper mechanisms that are established in place, where after you check in your code to the open source software, so open source team is going to review that and kind of they will have the right set of things, check mechanisms, validations to kind of take your code to the production, right? And it's not like those teams are taking rest. So they are developing and releasing different versions of products. Every now and then you kind of find a lot of them. And I think these are some of the recent versions of the projects. And does it support multiple languages in a single package? So if at all you kind of build enterprise products, right? So one language might not suit all your requirements. So let me take one example. So if I'm designing a web page in HTML, how am I going to incorporate authorization and authentication mechanisms in that? How am I going to incorporate the validations part in that? How am I going to validate the inputs in my page that I'm designing? How am I going to integrate with backend, right? So for everything that you're going to do in an enterprise product, there is a lot going in the backend. So we need to kind of have a platform within a package. You might write a React file, you might write a HTML file, you might go and write a JavaScript file. So whatever is needed for you, right? So it should be supporting. Then only that IDE or any development environment comes handy for developers, right? So, and the code or the platform should be able to run on any operating system. So operating system should not be a constraint. And it should also support third-party plugins once you kind of install and set up for your development. So say, for example, if I'm installing and using Eclipse IDE, if it doesn't support version control system, what is the value add that it is adding? So I'm just going to use it for development, syntax checking, and compilation errors, and I need to go and run in a different browser, and I need to go and check in a different HVN or Git or whatever it is, using some commands to kind of check what is the difference and what are the errors and what is the kind of change that I'm pushing in, right? So all the IDEs that are coming nowadays are coming with all the packages completely packed within them, so that it is easy for the developers to use it to push their code till the production. Okay, so yeah, as I was talking about, it has auto formatter features, spell checks, syntax checking, and it has debugging facilities, and it has internal browsers as well. So you can kind of, suppose if you are developing web applications, so you can kind of run the same within your development environments, and you can see what's going on. Okay, so it also supports concurrent version systems. So like as I was mentioning, so if 10 people are working on the same file, how it is going to be monitored, how it is going to be maintained in the long run. Because you cannot say all 10 people to stop working, because that is what is important. It might be having 100 different methods where thousands of changes might be done, and one person can definitely not do it, right? So we need to have a proper version control mechanism and the plugin that is integrated with your development environment, which is going to help you to do that job. So it has a lot of features, debugging tools, and say what you can do that. And if at all you need something and it is not already there, you can just go and import it as a plugin. So that option is also there. I'll quickly walk through this. IDs. So we have different IDs for developers. So if you are a C++ developer, you can go and download the according, you can go and download accordingly. And if you are a Java developer, you can go and download the specific ID accordingly, and you can do whatever you want. If you want to develop Orion web application, so then that is also supported. You just have to do a little bit of research on what you want to develop, and what is that that is supporting. And also ensure while you're kind of teaching projects, or while you're getting the projects done from the students, make sure they write the tests properly. So the integration testing and performance testing, even if you are developing if you are doing a final semester project with one single web page, I don't mind passing the student, because if he has, I will look for other components, right? So how are we evaluating the student? It's not like 100 different UI screens with a lot of functionalities and requirements, right? What is the validation that he or she is doing? How he is testing what he has developed? So it is an end to end, right? So is the code production ready? So is it following all the best practices? How many errors, how many times it is failing to execute? So these are all the other parameters we need to start looking at and set the bar high, right? So the moment a teacher goes back and tells that, guys, these are my expectations, you develop whatever you want, even if it is a one web page project, I'm fine to give you the marks, but these are all the things must haves in your project. So have a good requirement design document, and a justification of why we are doing that project, and what are the things that you're going to do, and how we are going to ensure that that project is going to be production ready. Because that is what is the environment that our students are going to get into, right? So once they graduate from colleges, where are they going to work? They're going to either work in a software company or any other company who is kind of doing any kind of business, right? So in any business, it is highly possible that anything might happen anytime. So having all the skill sets and making use of the opportunities that are there within their college is going to be the best way for any student before graduating out from the college. So that was just another tip I just wanted to kind of share. Okay, so how many of you have seen this? Can someone say what it is? Okay. Guys, come on. Okay, let me skip it. I think it's self-explanatory. So I just don't want to deviate from the core concept of IDE. So I just thought I'll spend some 5 to 10 minutes running through how different things looks like. And I'm quite sure each one of you would have seen this at least once and would have worked it extensively. Just a refresher, as I'm saying. So we were discussing it has the internal browser capabilities as well, right? Suppose if I'm developing a web page like this, what are the validations that I've done in my code? So you can just go and do the testing as well. Any doubts or any thoughts so far? Okay. So this is another Orion Java based project. If someone is trying to speak something, please notify me, guys. Just come on the audio and speak out, because I'm not able to see anything apart from my screen share on my window. Okay, so yeah, it has a lot of cool features. So there are times where so this was like completely read on my ID. So like it was kind of 12,000 lines of code in one single file, which is crazy. And it was like not compilable. So what do I do with that code? So I need to deliver something tomorrow, and I cannot sit and scan the 12,000 lines of code, right? Like what is going on? So there is an auto help feature that is available in Eclipse. So you just go and click on this bulb kind of thing. It tells you what it is expecting. And take it from me, it is not right always, but most of the times it is helpful. It at least gives us a path forward on where to look at. So which is kind of savior, and with that suggestions it gives, sometimes it works, sometimes we need to do additional work and kind of make all of them green, then your code is compilable. So that's how it's going to be in real time for anyone. So some of the other cool features is suppose if you want to directly create a class, it has a feature for that. If you want to directly create an interface, you can do that. And you want to define some constants, and you just want to use some shortcuts to write SOP statements. Or and there are times where what happens is your project might be using multiple tech stacks, and the compiler internally or the interpreter is not able to kind of in one go, right? Like, so say for example, we as humans, if a lot of information is put in our mind in a 1 hour or 2 hour session, it takes some time to process, right? So it is not something like we are not robots or something like that to kind of comprehend everything within fraction of seconds. It needs some time. So similarly, when you load your IDs with a lot of content and a lot of projects, so it needs some time to kind of fix itself. So there is an internal feature which is really wonderful and worked with many people most of the times, is fixing the project setup. So what it does is it goes back and processes the information that we have given to the environment, and it kind of comes up with what is the right set of solutions for that. So there are tutorial section as well. So in case someone is interested in learning more about it, so you can go and explore here. So that will be helpful. And as I said, it is a community forum. So do not hesitate. Like if you're really interested to solve some problem, or kind of give it a assignment to your student, right? Hey, this is the problem that I've seen in Stack Overflow, or this is a problem that people have reported in the community forum. Solve that problem and give full marks to that student, because that is what is the reality. That is what is going to be real life. So once we step out of the college, nobody is going to spare if I'm going to say, hey, I'm not able to solve this problem. No matter what kind of problem is given to you, no matter whom you're going to reach out to, no matter how much time you're going to spend, you're supposed to solve that problem because you're paid for that, right? And it goes the same even for a CEO, right? So if I'm starting a company, I'm supposed to solve the problems. If I'm not able to solve the problem, at least I should be capable of identifying or root causing the same so that I can hire the right people to solve the problem. So at any cost, solving the problem is a core focal point there. And we need to train our students really, really well in problem solving. So root causing and problem solving are two of the major problems which people struggle when they come out of the college. Why are they not learning it? Because we are asking them to do some projects which has some good features and complex functionalities. We are not asking them to solve the real-time problems. So when we are going back to student with real-time problems, that's when they come back with you with the real questions, for which I'm quite sure we will struggle to answer. So there are a lot of questions that my students, so I think I taught close to 12 years ago, and I still have my students in touch with me, and they keep asking me challenging questions. Sometimes I do not know how to answer. So I would say, give me some time, give me a week's time, I'll go back, research it, and come back to you with an answer. And that's kind of mutual learning. So that keeps me going and kind of figuring out, hey, okay, what is happening? Okay, I know there is something which I need to learn. So learning is never ending, and being always a student is something which always motivated me and inspired me. And teaching is the only profession which gives us an opportunity to have that zeal of learning continuously. That's what I personally believe. So when we are saying anything, right, for that matter, it has its own pros and cons. I'll just hold it on for 5 seconds here. Quickly go through. I'll just drink some water in the meanwhile. All right. So is Eclipse only the IDE? No, there are many IDEs. There are actually any number. I do not want to kind of cover all of them. Neither I don't have that much of time actually. So IntelliJ is another very good IDE. So you can see if you can explore that in it suits your requirement. And another interesting is Visual Studio. I hope many of you would have seen this in the past. So it also has all the good features which kinds of help the developers to maintain their code, run their code, write the code, correct it, and kind of manage the files and projects and whatnot. And we do have a lot of other options here. So moving on. So I just wanted to kind of give you a feel of how this Python, machine learning, all of this looks like, right? So if you are active researcher, so you would have noticed without machine learning algorithms or models, we will not have any data points to prove our thesis, right? So you need to kind of play with data, do some analysis, apply your own algorithms, or use some algorithms and make some changes and kind of see how that is kind of helping you. So this is one of the most frequently, at least I have used it a lot for my PhD thesis and my machine learning research. So this is one of the notebooks which is used for developing Python code. So you can kind of see the cool thing about this notebook is you just see the run button here, right? So you just click this and you see the result here. So if you're doing any time series analysis or anything like that, this is really helpful. And if something goes wrong, you can find it here itself. You don't have to kind of go back and run and come back to see the results. So this is one of the coolest things for introducing to students. I know a lot of students, when we go for campus recruitments, they kind of already are using it or keen to learn it and use it. And a lot of colleges and a lot of courses in some of the universities already have this in their curriculum. And if that is something which is missing in any of your curriculums, then I think that is the next right action to be taken to kind of update the curriculum to include something which is need of the hour. So rather than teaching something kids which they are not going to use in their lifetime, teach them the things that are going to pay for them in the future. So once they step out of the college, it's a win-win. If a student gets a placement in a top tier company, it's a good name for college, right? So it's a win-win for both. And yeah, this is another. And this one I have recently learned, especially after moving to US. So my team extensively uses this. So there are a lot of challenges still. It is not as good as the Jupyter notebook that I've shared earlier. So it has a lot of integration issues, and we kind of deal with a lot of unwanted things with this. But this has very good features in terms of representing the data. So if you look at you can play around and kind of see whatever kind of analysis you want to perform on specific input data sets. So yeah, with that, I think we have finished two of our topics that were there in our agenda. So the generic one and the IDE based learning. So before we move on to the next topic, would anyone want to speak out or ask any questions? Are we good so far? How are we doing? Anything? Nothing? Okay, so I think I had one video which I wanted to share in the ending, but I think I'll share that now. So I'm not going to share the complete. Okay, technical challenges. Okay, you guys are
Ma'am,
not.
Manjusha is asking, can you show the previous slide?
Okay, this one. Is this the one? Can I share my whole screen? I'm going to show you some videos.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, give me a moment. Sorry for cutting off my video. I'm just trying to open one of the videos that I have researched as part of my preparation. Oh, okay. I'm just sharing my whole screen now. Let me know if you have any issues with the audio. Are you all able to see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Is the audio audible?
No, ma'am. Audio not. It's not audible.
Okay, give me a moment. How about now?
No, no, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Is there a way I can?
Ma'am, video voice not audible, ma'am.
Okay. Is voice not audible?
Yes,
Not
ma'am.
audible, not audible, ma'am.
Okay.
Audio sharing, have you enabled, ma'am?
I don't know that. I haven't checked it though. I can check it right away here. Give me a moment. What is that option that I need to choose? I have never. It seems correct to me. Is there any specific option that anyone is
I am
aware
also
of?
not seeing in that options.
Yeah. I thought it should work. Or else I can do one more thing. I can run it on my other laptop.
Okay, and you can, or you can send the link also, ma'am, later.
Yeah.
They can.
Yeah. It is there
Something is
already.
working. Yeah,
Yeah, it is already there in the presentation.
yeah.
So I thought I'll not bore by talking a lot. Uh,
Okay.
so I thought I'll have some interactive videos. So okay, anyways, fine. Technical glitches. So see if any one of you have access to share. I would probably hand over my screen share because it's a couple of videos that I want to definitely walk through today. We can give it a try once more. I'll stop. Okay. Okay, I think I'm trying to solve this problem. Give me a moment, guys. Uh, Share tab audio. Mm, it's been quite some time. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It is on. Okay. We will give it one more last try, guys. Sorry for that. Is it audible now? Is it better? Okay, you are able to see. Sorry, you are able to listen. Okay, so all right. Then yeah, I solved this. Kudos to me. All right, so I will play a small video around the scenario-based learning, guys. I found it really helpful, and I know there are times where we go back and uh, see stuff, and there are times where we miss to kind of see the stuff.
Washington State residents, if you have a utility meter like this on the side of your house, you could get paid.
Numeral.
Is it audible? Just checking once again.
Yes, ma'am, it's
Yes,
audible.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, hippopotamonstrous sesquipedaliophobia, pseudo-hyperparathyroidism, Vox nos nihil prolification, anti-disestablishmentarianism, honor vocabulary lecture encephalographically, anti-transubstantiationalist, disproportionableness, and comprehensibilities. So, what you just heard were some of the 11 longest words in the English dictionary. Such complex words, right? Well, just as these words are complex, so has my own life been. And although seemingly difficult things, such as memorizing long and complex words and numbers, are simple for me, seemingly simple things such as standing and bearing weight are impossible for me. That's because I wasn't like any other newborn baby. I was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, a rare, incurable genetic disorder that causes a person's bones to be extremely fragile. So I guess you can call me Mr. Glass now. During my birth, I had over 35 fractures and was taken immediately to the intensive care unit.
Okay, I would like to pause on there. So he's a guy called Spursha. So as you guys are hearing, he had very big challenges in his
This video
life,
is going to be a little different.
and how he has overcome it to turn things positively and make his life beautiful, though he knows that there are a lot of things that he's still supposed to kind of deal with. And at such a small age, he kind of inspires me whenever I watch his videos. So there are a lot of content that 13-year-old has created. Feel free to go and watch. I'll share the links anyways on my presentation as well. But yeah, it's a must watch and really inspiring story, guys. So it is not to demotivate someone, but it is to draw motivation from that fellow who is actually doing a lot.
It's not just a single video, but a set of videos to try to show you what scenario-based learning is through an example of scenario-based learning. Makes good sense, right? Let's run the intro. So before we jump straight into the scenario I've built, we need to get a few facts in place first. What is scenario-based learning, and what are some of the theoretical principles behind it? Scenario-based learning, or SBL, is a learning method where the learner is presented with a situation or a scenario and is then asked how to go forward from this scenario. This is the context. What do you do? A, B, or C, right? This way of teaching and learning is based on the principles of situated learning theory formulated by Leith and Wenger in 1991. They argue that learning best takes place in the context in which it is going to be used. Scenario-based learning also has a lot in common with situated cognition, formulated by Kindley in 2002. It's a similar idea that knowledge is best acquired and more fully understood when situated within its context. So now that we know a bit about what SBL is and where it comes from, let's take a look at an example of what this could look like. To build a scenario, we need to provide some information on where it takes place, who's there, and what's happening. Imagine you're a firefighter. It's your very first day on the job and you're sitting in the fire station's meeting room. One of your new colleagues comes in and hands you an onboarding checklist and tells you that this is what everyone reads before they start fighting actual fires. He asks you to finish it today because one of the others called in sick for the week, so they need you to join the team tomorrow. He then leaves the room and you're alone with the checklist. What do you do? Now you choose A or B. Click on one of the videos to see the consequence of your choice. Come on, go to the next video. This one is going to end real soon, and then nothing of all this is going to make sense.
So basically what I was trying to kind of introduce here was, guys, so introduce to the concept of, scenario based learning. So many of the studies have proved that the scenario based learning works really well when it comes to uh, kind of communicating things right to people or to the intended audience, and kind of trying to get out of the scenario, right? So there are a lot of concepts around scenario based learning, and I can quote examples on and on and on for another hour on that. But yeah, so this is a successful concept which is being applied across the domains, across multiple domains as far as I know. So this will really work well. So I'll tell you how it can be used in our mentorship, or while we talk to students, right? So there are many times where we kind of struggle to find words, and someone comes with some difficult problem, and madam, can you help me to solve this? So we try to connect with the logic, and we try to connect with the concept. So if it is a deadlock situation, for example, let's take that example, because that is at least something which for which people come to me a lot, right? So madam, I what is a deadlock? Can you explain it to me easily? So always students expect to have a shortcut where they can easily learn some concept, right? So that is a situation I think we need to bank on, and introduce scenario based learning to kind of come up with a connection to a scenario, right? So how I would deal with that is, say for example, while developing a part of the application, or while kind of putting a plugin into one of the components that I have developed, right? So I was kind of using resources without releasing them. So there is a concept called resource management. So in case of unused resources, you need to release them, right? So when you look at Java, so it kind of has that auto garbage collection feature. So if there are unused objects that are found in the code at any point in time, so what Java does is it goes and cleans the garbage. So it considers it as garbage, and it kind of cleans by itself. That how does that help us? So as developers, we don't have to worry about maintaining our things that we are no longer using. So that is one of the cool feature that comes with Java, but it still doesn't take care of resources that you're not using properly. So you might have opened a connection to a backend driver and established a connection to a backend database to fetch some data, and you fetch the data, and you teach kids, right? So what are the steps involved in JDBC lifecycle? What are the different steps? So uh, declare the driver, and kind of register the driver, establish the connection to the driver, and write the SQL statement, call the SQL statement, fetch the result set, and once you get the result set, parse the result set, kind of look into what are the things that you have fetched from the backend database, and then kind of go back and see how to manipulate that data. So these are all the default steps that comes with it. But what comes after that? So while you are consuming resources, you are responsible for ensuring that they are released as well. So if you are not releasing any resource after using that, it is going to cause some problems, right? So if I process one is something which is using, say for example, one database connection. So unless the database has the feature of allowing multiple connections, it's not going to allow another process to kind of enter into it, right? So what happens is other process keeps waiting, and it is never going to get into fetch the data until the process one gets completed. So such kind of scenarios, that was just one example I was kind of trying to quote, where you can pull in the real-time scenario, and kind of connect them with a problem. What is the problem that student is struggling to understand, and then connect both of them. So that will be the ultimate solution for them to remember it and carry it forward in their careers forward as well. So like if you ask me, as a manager, as a teacher, as a mentor, what I do is I don't give them short-term solutions. Hey, okay, take this shortcut and you'll be able to come out of this problem. No, that is not the way to deal with people, right? So when you're dealing with people, when you're talking to people, and when people are coming to you for suggestions, it's with a lot of faith they come, and they believe teachers are gods. I've really seen this. And when they have so much of trust in you, it is on our part to do the best and guide them in the right direction. And how we can guide them in the right direction? Communicating well, understanding from them what they are going through currently at that point in time, and what are their ambitions are, what their goals are they in the right direction, how we can connect to the scenarios and give them examples of how people have solved those problems. None of the people's life is bed of roses, right? So it is like nobody has got everything on day one, or nobody has nothing on day one. So it is possible of different combinations. So I still remember days where I used to get up at 6 o'clock, drop my kid in the school bus, and then get started to the office, go to the office, hectic work. 8 o'clock it starts and it ends by 5:30. It doesn't end, but I forcefully end because I have to go to my classes. So go back to college. 6:45 to 9:45 is my class. I'll have three classes in a day, and finish the classes, and then come back home, and the routine begins, right? So when you look at the profile, like you would see a lot of degrees just got added, and there is a lot of effort that went into it. So I'm not boasting about myself that I've put in a lot of effort, but it just happened organically. So I just couldn't stop it. So my zeal for learning things, and the family motivation, and the factors that were there in my surroundings, they were like kind of positive towards that, and helped me to kind of grow to the next level and achieve whatever I have dreamt of at some point in my life, right? So during my college days, I used to dream about doing an MBA with IIM. So I kind of decided, like, if I'm doing MBA, it's only with IIM. It's not with any other institution. And that came true when I kind of took up a very high profile role in my career. So that was first time manager role, and I was kind of promoted in 6 months in Cerner, and I was given altogether new responsibilities and things like that. So the reason I'm quoting all these examples is the scenario based teaching is very well connected with students. So whenever you're kind of showing them what you have achieved or what are the mistakes that you have done, that kind of touches people. And even if you are able to inspire 1% of the group that we are communicating with, that will be a lifetime accomplishment for us, right? So there are and students are very reciprocative, and if at all there is an impact, you will get to know it. I can write it and give, you will get to know it, and I'm sure many of you would have that experience, right? So they'll come back because they cannot resist themselves. So if a teacher helps them to solve something or to come up with something, so the gratitude that student shows is really visible. So best thing to kind of mentor students is teach them based on scenarios. So try to have a connection with your students based on the real time scenarios, so that it can be for their learning, it can be for their career development, it can be for their educational betterment, name anything, right? So it is going to definitely help them. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to kind of show you another small presentation, and I'm sure this will be my last presentation. Give me a moment to share that. Meanwhile, anyone has any questions or any thoughts, or feel free to pitch in, guys, if you want me to kind of cover anything in specific. I would be more than happy to do that. I'll pause here for a couple of minutes for audience. Anything? Anyone want to? Yeah, and I agree, guys, that was a filler. So you're still able to see my screen? Yes, no? Okay, no. Thank you for letting me know, Syed Mateen Pasha. Appreciate it. So I was initially mentioning about every kid needs a champion, right? And whatever I spoke about so far around the scenario-based learning and establishing the connect with kids and having that continued communication with kids is really important, right? So she's Rita Pearson, and she is a very experienced educator, and I like her talks a lot. So it is kind of very inspiring, and she quotes the right things, and she is very straightforward, which I realize in her talks, and it is one of the TED talks that I'm going to share with you guys now. I hope it is helpful.
I have spent my entire life either at the schoolhouse, on the way to the schoolhouse, or talking about what happens in the schoolhouse. Both my parents were educators. My maternal grandparents were educators. And for the past 40 years, I've done the same thing. And so needless to say, over those years, I've had a chance to look at education reform from a lot of perspectives. Some of those reforms have been good, some of them have been not so good. And we know why kids drop out. We know why kids don't learn. It's either poverty, low attendance, negative peer influences. We know why. But one of the things that we never discuss, or we rarely discuss, is the value and importance of human connection. Relationships. James Comer says that no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. George Washington Carver says all learning is understanding relationships. Everyone in this room has been affected by a teacher or an adult. For years, I have watched people teach. I have looked at the best and I've looked at some of the worst. A colleague said to me one time, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson. The kids should learn it. I should teach it. They should learn it. Case closed. Well, I said to her, you know, kids don't learn from people they don't like. She said, that's just a bunch of hooey. And I said to her, well, your year is going to be long and arduous, dear. Needless to say, it was. Some people think that you can either have it in you to build a relationship or you don't. I think Stephen Covey had the right idea. He said you ought to just throw in a few simple things, like seeking first to understand as opposed to being understood. Simple things like apologizing. You ever thought about that? Tell a kid you're sorry, they're in shock. I taught a lesson once on ratios. I'm not real good with math, but I was working on it. And I got back and looked at that teacher edition. I taught the whole lesson wrong. So I came back to class the next day and I said, look, guys, I need to apologize. I taught the whole lesson wrong. I'm so sorry. They said, that's okay, Miss Pearson. You were so excited. We just let you go. I have had classes that were so low, so academically deficient that I cried. I wondered, how am I going to take this group in 9 months from where they are to where they need to be? And it was difficult. It was awfully hard. How do I raise the self-esteem of a child and his academic achievement at the same time? One year I came up with a bright idea. I told all my students, you were chosen to be in my class because I am the best teacher and you are the best students. They put us all together so we could show everybody else how to do it. One of the students said, really? I said, really? We have to show the other classes how to do it. So when we walk down the hall, people will notice us. So you can't make noise. You just have to strut. And I gave him a saying to say, I am somebody. I was somebody when I came. I'll be a better somebody when I leave. I am powerful and I am strong. I deserve the education that I get here. I have things to do, people to impress, and places to go. And they said, yeah. You say it long enough, it starts to be a part of you. And so, I gave a quiz, 20 questions. Student missed 18. I put a +2 on this paper and a big smiley face. He said, Miss Pearson, is this an F? I said, yes. He said, then why'd you put a smiley face? I said, because you on the roll. You got 2 right, you didn't miss them all. I said, and when we review this, won't you do better? He said, yes, ma'am, I can do better. You see, -18 sucks all the life out of you. +2 said, I ain't all bad. For years, I watched my mother take the time at recess to review, go on home visits in the afternoon, buy combs and brushes and peanut butter and crackers to put in her desk drawer for kids that needed to eat, and a washcloth and some soap for the kids who didn't smell so good. See, it's hard to teach kids who stink. And kids can be cruel. And so she kept those things in her desk, and years later, after she retired, I watched some of those same kids come through and say to her, you know, Miss Walker, you made a difference in my life. You made it work for me. You made me feel like I was somebody when I knew at the bottom I wasn't. And I want you to just see what I've become. And when my mama died 2 years ago at 92, there were so many former students at her funeral. It brought tears to my eyes, not because she was gone, but because she left a legacy of relationships that could never disappear. Can we stand to have more relationships? Absolutely. Will you like all your children? Of course not. And you know your toughest kids are never absent. Never. You won't like them all, and the tough ones show up for a reason. It's the connection, it's the relationships. And while you won't like them all, the key is they can never, ever know it. So teachers become great actors and great actresses, and we come to work when we don't feel like it, and we listen to policy that doesn't make sense, and we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that's what we do. Teaching and learning should bring joy. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to think, and who had a champion? Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. Is this job tough? You betcha. Oh God, you betcha. But it is not impossible. We can do this. We're educators. We're born to make a difference. Thank you.
All right, so that was an inspiring one for me. So it makes definitely a difference, right? Folks, like if a student, I mean, I hope everyone would have heard it, like a student comes back to the teacher and says, minus 18 would have stuck with him for his entire life. So though he has failed the exam, the teacher had put +2 and a smiley, which kind of stayed with him forever. So that is the kind of positive experience that we can create in every kid's life. And the teaching and learning should bring joy to both the parties. So unless there is a joy in teaching, and the kid gets joy in learning things and challenging himself and asking the right questions and exploring the things around, I think there is not going to be any good learning that will happen. So I think teachers are born leaders. And so I take a bow to all the people who are in that profession and having got a great opportunity to mentor so many kids on a daily basis. I think it's a great job, guys. So I appreciate all of you for doing a great job and being mentors and bringing in changes in many students' lives. So on that note, I think I'm done a bit early with my presentation. So I thought it'll be more interactive and plan the content exactly for 2 hours. I think we do have some time for discussion. Any open questions? You want to shoot out any questions to me, or you want to get to know some information from me? We can probably use another 10-15 minutes for Q&A session, guys. So come on, speak up. You are all mentors, you are all great teachers, and you have been role models for many people. And I would like to hear more about anything that I can help with. So I can go on and on talking about a couple of other topics that I had planned, but I want to give an opportunity to audience to kind of open up and come up with any questions. And if that is going to help you in any way, that would be grateful. So I would open up the floor for anyone to ask any questions. Feel free to come on video if you want. And there is a surprise gift for someone who comes first on video. Sunita madam will share it later.
Shall I switch on for that surprise gift, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. No, we'll give a chance to others to switch on.
Yeah. I really want to see people. And please share feedback if this session was helpful, or if you have any inputs on how this can be made better. So as a person, I was always open for feedback, and I'm always open for feedback and try to make myself better every day. And I'm quite sure tomorrow I'll be better than today. Or if not, I think we need to pick one by one based on the list. So what happens, just on a funny note, guys, so what happens in some of the meetings is nobody will be interested to come on video, especially if it is a session which is kind of dealing with a lot of complexities, right? So we want to focus on solving the problems and things like that. So sometimes we kind of announce such things that, okay, whoever comes first will have a goodie at their place. Sometimes who comes first will have a surprise thing that is laid down in front of their desk and things like that. So these are small funny things we do at work to kind of keep our team motivated and kind of keep going with all the energy. And I believe in high performing teams, building high performing teams. So there are many teams that I have built and worked with. So yeah, so the attitude of having a fun work environment kind of helps everyone, I believe. Okay, on that
There are
note,
messages in the chat box, ma'am. Nice session, good session. Nityanandan Krishan sir, feel free to speak to ma'am.
yeah, more than happy to share my thoughts. Or if you have any good experiences, feel free to share, folks.
Pani ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vani, for getting connected to the session. So do you have any such experiences where you kind of helped any student or or you kind of faced any challenge with any of the situations? Was there any deadlock in your mind, like what next? What am I supposed to do in this situation? Like, should I focus on completing the syllabus, or should I focus on making the student's life better? And what would I choose among those two? Right?
So can we all switch on the camera for a group photo? At least then people will switch it on.
Hi, Rajesh. You are the first one. You will get a goodie. Hi, Vasumati. Hi, Salma. Nice to see you guys on video. Hi, Pasha. I think I'm pronouncing your name right. I think Google Meet also has an upper limit, right, on number of people who can come on video. Hi, Vaishnavi. I think we need two more people to kind of have a screen with all the videos, right, Shalini ma'am? I think you need to motivate two more people.
I'm trying for
So,
that one actually.
trying to apply the concepts that we have learned just now, motivating people. Yes, Jayaraman, you had a question. Hello, Satya Jayaraman.
I'm not here. नहीं बोला नहीं फार्म.
Okay. Are you there?
I think most of them have switched on their videos, ma'am.
Is it okay? Is it like I'm not able to see them?
Ma'am, just go to change layout. Tiled you can give. Just try it out. More options.
Okay. I don't know. It's been quite some time since I used.
Next to present now, there is more options. There you can just.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Hey, Vatsala ma'am. Hi, ma'am.
Change.
Vatsala ma'am.
Hi, ma'am, tell me. I'm in the lab. That's the reason I muted myself from this noise.
Okay. Hi, Manjusha ma'am. Hi, Loganathan sir. Now thanks for helping me out, ma'am. It's been quite some time since I was on Google Meet. Yeah, good to see many people on video. I wish it would have been the same throughout the session. But yeah, so yeah, I think it was a good experience. I had folks with all of you, so it was so nice talking to all of you. So such a calm audience I never got in any of my sessions. So really wonderful to have a session. But yeah, I'm hoping at least I have created that thought or seeded the thought of the scenario based learning and establishing the personal connections with the student and motivating them and connecting them with stories and kind of teaching them in the right direction, challenging them, asking them to solve the real-time problems. So challenge yourself and challenge your students to kind of bring the best out of both the worlds, right? So I'm quite sure you're all doing a great job. So take a bow for all your efforts to kind of train the next generation kids and if at all any of you want to contact me offline to kind of post any questions, so Shalini ma'am and Sunita ma'am has my email ID, so you can shoot out any questions offline as well in case you want any information or any guidance. Or so with whatever little knowledge I have acquired so far, whatever is there within my visibility, so I'll share whatever I can with you guys. Okay, so on that note, thank you so much for patiently listening to me for close to 2 hours, guys. It was a good session, I believe, and yeah, feel free to share your feedback. Thank you so much. Back to you, Shalini ma'am. I think you are on mute, madam.
Shalini ma'am, you have muted yourself.
Yeah. You can hear me now?
Yes.
Ma'am, yeah, thank you so much on behalf of the department, on behalf of Center of Excellence of Web Technologies, and on behalf of the Sagar College. So once more time, you reminded us that we are all born leaders. So it's not only the subjects what we teach, how we inspire, how we motivate, all those matters a lot, no, ma'am, and that inborn passion what we carry with us, that how we impart to the students. That makes you a good teacher. So wishing you all the best for all the best teachers here. Thank you so much, ma'am. I think Sunita is busy with another workshop, so she's not able to join now. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
guys.
all the participants for very patiently being with us all these 3 days. Okay, so hope anybody can share any feedbacks about the workshop, about the FDP. Any of the participants would like to share something about the organization of the FDP? You can just speak it out also.
Thank you, Madam, for conducting this emerging tools and techniques for web development workshop for 3 days. Thanks for organizing and allowing us to gain the knowledge from this workshop, Madam. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Really, sir?
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Tell me. Yes, Lata, ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, it was a well-organized event, ma'am. Speakers were very knowledgeable. Only thing is, ma'am, in between we couldn't attend continuously because of examination duties and all. But whatever section we have attended, lot of knowledge from the section, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for organizing this event.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lata, ma'am. Anybody else?
Shalini Madam, could you share Sandeep Kokale's number?
Surely we will share Sandeep sir's number.
Yes, please, Madam.
Surely we will share, sir. Sandeep sir's number we will share.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wish the faculty development program was very good and useful for all the faculty fraternity who have participated. Thank you so much, Sree Rekha ma'am. It was a wonderful session.
You're most welcome, madam. Thank you for having me for this session. And Yeah, it was nice meeting you all again after so long.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. How
Right.
was your how was the response from the faculties, ma'am, today?
Yeah, it could have been more interactive, but I do understand the
Yeah.
pressure that each one of us go through, right? So, if you ask me, since morning, my day started around 8 o'clock, and it is 11:08 now. So
Yeah, I
back to
know.
back,
I
I'm on
know.
video.
Yeah,
So
I
no,
know. Thank you so much for your valuable time, ma'am, sparing your valuable time, because I know it's almost midnight for you now. It will be definitely.
yeah, it's
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
absolutely
so much.
fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually I'm a late person, so I'm not that early person. So it's fine. So
That's
it was,
advantage for us now. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Really.
So it was enjoyable. So I thoroughly enjoyed the session. I hope it created an impact on some of the participants.
Yes, ma'am.
And in
Definitely.
case anyone has further questions, feel free to gather the feedback and share it to me if you have.
Sure, ma'am.
And
We'll share
I'd
that
be more
feedback.
than happy to kind of answer any questions if I can.
Sure, sure,
Okay.
sure, ma'am. I'm looking forward for future association, ma'am. So we want to conduct
Definitely.
many more FDPs and technical sessions for our students. Actually,
Yeah.
lot many things we do for students regularly on regular basis. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
FDP we in a semester one we do normally. For advancements in faculty fraternity, but we do regular student technical talks, workshops, and webinars, seminars. We look forward for that, ma'am.
Definitely, definitely. Anytime, anything that I can do for student community or faculty community would be more than happy to serve.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That's great. Yes, Shalini, we lined up the session. Thank you so much, all the faculties, for participating, for being active, in all the sessions throughout all the 5 sessions. Thank you so much. Okay, please fill the feedback form of all the 5 sessions. We have already sent. After each session, we have sent. Certificate will be issued to e-certificate will be issued soon. Maybe it takes 3 to 4 days. We issue the certificates to all the participants who have attended all the 5 sessions. Thank you all faculty. So we look forward for your active participation, same wise in the upcoming FDPs also. Thank you so much. We yeah, yes, thank you, Salma. Thank you, Rekha ma'am, Smita. Yes, thank you so much. We look forward in future same kind of